In this video, guys, we're going to talk about thinking about stops differently. Stay tuned. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. Alright, so it's a bit of a video response to a question I had regarding another video I did where I talked about, putting your entries in places where others have their stops. So I guess really it's a bit of a blended title here. Think about your stops differently and also your entries differently. So what do I kind of mean by that? Let's take it one step further. So in that video, I talked about, hey, just think about the bigger picture. Think about where the majority of people are putting their stops and consider, not always, consider if that's a place where you should be doing the entering, i.e. if someone's got a sell stop below the low, should you be buying below the low? And actually the answer to that and often is yes, you should be doing the opposite to what the crowd is doing. Now, not always, there's plenty of times when the crowd is right, jumping on a trend, etc., etc. But when we're talking about standard market conditions, mean reversion, a little bit of volatility, range expansion type environments, then doing what everyone else is doing isn't always going to get you the results you want. And in fact, over time, it's probably not. If you think about retail traders' profitability, we've seen all the adverts and everything all over the place, 70%, 60%, 65% in some great cases, of traders are losing money. So thinking about doing the opposite to those traders, and I recognize a lot of that's mindset, etc. But from an operational perspective, let's think a little bit differently. Let's think about, let's play a game of chess. Let's step back. Let's look at the bigger picture. So 4 different scenarios for you here. Just random stuff that are drawn on. There's probably some patterns here, hidden patterns somewhere. So let's label them 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So 1 is standard type of pattern, rolls up, pushes up, flags at highs, dips below the low, and pushes on. Now, if you were taking a classical kind of bull flag trade here, you might be frustrated because your stop is here below that low. Hopefully you guys can see it on the screen. The orange pen's not the greatest, but hopefully it stands out. And you're going to get pinged by that. In some circumstances, high tight flag, fine. But what about buying kind of under the flag and putting your stop another level lower? I'm sure I can say that's not a hard phrase to say. So imagine if your normal entry was here and your stop was here, and that's normally how your trade would be. Think about changing that so that your entry is where your stop would be and your stop is underneath that. All of a sudden, you've got this scenario where you are entering often when the price is stretching to test levels and you're kind of opposing that level, if that makes sense. Price moves to another level of price and sees if there's continued buyers or sellers, and then reacts to that in some way and reacts back up. Now, the downside of doing this is that you can end up missing trades, of course, because not always a price is going to go that, as you know, because sometimes these trades work and just go straight in your direction, and you're saying fine, and you're making money, and your stop will be in a normal classical position underneath that flag. Great, everyone's going to make money in that classical textbook flag pattern. However, sometimes buying when the pattern, very short term, this is the key, short term looks damaged, i.e. we've poken below the low of the flag, not closed there, not done so much work, poke below it. Sometimes buying in that short term sweet spot of opportunity where lies profit, for want of a better word. And actually, something if you can buy a place where price doesn't spend a lot of time, think about that, dips below, comes back, it doesn't spend a lot of time down there. So often the duration that the price is in a level is a bit of a clue. So, something like that, where you're buying there and you're putting your stop 1 level lower. So it's still the same amount of risk. Let's say it's 30 pips if you're trading currencies, you're still using 30 pips risk, but you're buying at that point of the stop. Okay, let's move on quickly. Number 2. Range type environment, range bound condition. Many people would say, hey, do you know what? And by the way, guys, for beginners, you're trying to create some structure to trading. So it's not a bad thing, but I'm kind of saying to take your trading to the next level and perhaps to get some traction and stop spinning the wheels a little bit, think a little bit differently. If you're thinking to buy here, most people say, well, do you know what? I'll buy right at the prior low and my stop will be just below. And now, okay, I know that very often we will say, hey, make sure there's a big gap there. But quite often, guys, the price will push through, again, not very long. It'll go through, maybe even on a 15-minute chart, maybe it goes through for 5 minutes and comes back. there's your opportunity. Your opportunity lies in short-term anomalies in price. The opportunity lies when market has stretched out of zones, a few bits of panic, and then comes back in. Now, could it continue and break out? Of course it could, and that's why you'd have your stop. But rather than having your entry right here, you'd have your entry where your stop would be, and then your stop below that, if that makes sense. So an easy way to do it is to think about where you would enter textbook style, where your stop would be textbook style, and then just go, right, well, I'll put my entry at the textbook stop, and then put my stop, my actual stop, below that same distance it would be. So you're bracketing it down. It kind of think about it in your head. It's an easy concept to get around once you kind of think, okay, well, if I am buying where my stop would be, right, that means this. And it's easy to think about. Like I say, sometimes you're going to miss out on trades, but very often, especially the conditions I think are changing a lot, you will find that you will get filled at a very, very nice price. And that's the flip side of it. You miss some trades, you get filled at a very, very pleasant price, a very, very nice price of catching those little sweet spot lows or sweet spot highs. Another type of scenario here, and this is one where it wouldn't work, actually, because let's include real world, guys. Real world, not making money all the time. Trades don't work. A kind of trend line break, classical. Trying to mix the word break and classic then for you. A trend line break, classical kind of breakout type environment, pushes up. You've got a kind of flag, pennant, whatever you want to call it, breaks out, you take the trade here, your stop's probably going to be here, or maybe it's below this low, and that works out fine. Now, if you were saying, okay, well, if I put my stop actually in a position where, or if I put my entry where my stop would be before, and you're buying here, you might not want that, because think about what's happened. You've already had the break. You're trading a breakout after a fake out, and so if that comes back down to here, that's a different animal than something like this. That is if it come down here and broken back up, but you're now trading it in a different environment. It's pushed up, it's pulling back. You don't want it to do that. So that's an instant where you want to take a classical type trade of, okay, let me take the break. If it comes back to that, I do not want it. You still want, we're not saying negating the trade thesis here. I'm not saying, okay, well, I put my stop in a point where the trade idea is wrong. No, the trade idea is still valid. That's why the key is to look at these ideas and say, yeah, that's still valid. Because if it's under there and pokes back up, that's something that would be fair. And you take that trade. If it pokes below the flag and comes back up, you take the trade. If it had already broken out and then reverses, okay, you could argue that it's a pullback to break out on an off level. And fine, I could probably agree with that. But ultimately, it's done what you thought it was going to do, and then it changed sentiment, and now you're buying. There's a subtle distinction between those two at the top. Let's move on to the fourth one, guys. Fourth one, head and shoulders, something a lot of people like to trade. They kind of take the break here, and the stop is either above that level, or maybe if you're going for a wide, longer term move, above the right shoulder. Why not think a little bit differently and go, okay, I'm prepared to miss this move, but if it comes back, maybe it comes back and stops people out here, I'll be interested in it. And that might seem counterintuitive, because you're like, oh, that's a stupid place to be selling it. Well, actually, that's what turns into a triple top. Head and shoulder, depends obviously on the left shoulder, that's what turns into a triple top. And actually now you're front running that, for want of a better word, rather than jumping in it and joining in it and pushing lower. Now, okay, probably the worst example of the lot, if I'm honest, but let's just share real world stuff here. You're putting your entry there, and then your stop is going to be a kind of that distance above there. All of a sudden, where you would have normally gone in here, bracket that up, all of a sudden you've got a reasonable trade there, because the same risk, better entry, but if it pushes up higher, then it's probably going to break out. If it rolls back over, great, you've already managed to take off 1R, and you can take the trade off and take half the trade off or quarter of the trade off and run the next of it. I think the point, guys, is to just think, these are rough examples and to kind of visualize what we're talking about here, but I think the kind of summary is to just take a step back and just think, right, what is the crowd doing? What does, if it's a breakout, they do this, they do that. So what about if I did the opposite of that? Not always, but just sometimes being a little bit more thoughtful, intentional about your trades and trade positioning and entry positioning and stop positioning, and accepting the fact that you will miss some is probably something that's going to be it's going to support your long-term success as a trader, rather than doing everything instantly. Got to go in now, got to go now, got to have my stop here, so it's tight as that. Well, just, hey, price comes to here. Let price rotate a little bit and come to my level before I dive in and pull the trigger. All right, guys, take care. See you next one. Bye-bye.